Namaskar. This is Akhilesh Bhargav. Welcome to Tidbits on Business and Finance with me. It was sometime in February 2012 that Arcom took a loan of $925 million from a clutch of three Chinese banks, which is the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, the China Development Bank, and the Exim Bank of China. Among the terms of giving this loan by these Chinese banks to Arcom was, of course, a charge on the assets of Arcom, as would have been decided, but most importantly, a personal guarantee of Mr. Anil Ambani, which implied that in case Arcom was not able to pay the loan or refused to pay, in that case, Mr. Ambani would be personally liable to repay the loan. The company defaulted on the repayment of loans sometime in 2017. The Chinese banks asked Mr. Ambani to honor the guarantee, and at that point of time, the group, Mr. Ambani, denied that any such guarantee was given. The facts of the case are that what is called or what is termed to be a guarantee by the Chinese banks was signed by a power of attorney holder on behalf of Mr. Ambani. What the Chinese banks call a personal guarantee, Mr. Ambani says it was a mere letter of comfort. Let's keep the niceties aside, but it has been claimed to be a personal guarantee given by him, and Mr. Ambani denied any such guarantee. The pertinent point is that the Chinese banks went to a court in UK, to the High Court in UK in May 2019, seeking a summary judgment so that Mr. Ambani is directed to pay the loan which is due by Arcom in his capacity as personal guarantor. That was in May 2019. In February 2020, the UK court passed an interim order, and it ordered Mr. Ambani to deposit a sum of $100 million within a matter of 6 weeks. And it refused to accept the plea of Mr. Ambani at that point of time that he had no assets whatsoever to be able to pay this sum, and that his family is not going to support him at this point of time. The UK judge found his conduct, his claims to be not transparent and lacking candor, but that was the interim order that was passed. It was, of course, not honored. That amount was not paid by Mr. Ambani. And now in May 2020 comes the order of the UK High Court saying that Mr. Ambani did give a personal guarantee. That personal guarantee is valid and it is binding on him. And the court has ordered him to pay $717 million, which is about 5,448 crores to the Chinese banks within a matter of 21 days. That's the order that has come. The group denies its liability. The group, of course, says that it is considering all possible legal options, and it maintains that no personal guarantee was given. It also says that the UK order is not going to be enforceable in India, and most importantly, it points out that the Arcom liquidation has been resolved and is awaiting a final order by the NCLT, whereunder the liability of Mr. Ambani will come down by 50%, and thus, while the group denies any liability, it also says that once the NCLT order is passed, the liability will come down substantially. The point we are trying to make here is that in May 2019, the Chinese banks went to the UK court seeking an order, and in a matter of a year, in May 2020, the order got passed. That was the speed by which the UK court passed this order in a case which apparently seemed to be controversial and could have been dragged on for years in case it was an Indian court. Take the case of Nirav Modi, who has cheated banks in India for $2 billion. He ran away from India sometime in January 2018 or maybe December 2017. It was in February 2018 that the giant fraud committed by him was unearthed. He had run away, let's say in Jan 2018. He remained incognito in UK until he was spotted by a journalist in March 2019, which is last year. 19th of March 2019, Scotland Yard police of the UK arrested him, and he has been in jail since then. He has been denied bail on several times. He continues to languish in a London jail. The courts have said very clearly that in case he is granted bail, he could abscond, he could run away, or he could threaten witnesses, or he could tamper evidence, and thus he needs to be in jail unless and until the final order of his extradition is passed to send him back to India. At the moment, it looks like that the order in Nirav Modi's case could be passed by September 2020, because by that point of time, the UK court would have also adjudicated his plea on the prison conditions on Arthur Road jail in Mumbai, which is where he would be jailed once he is sent back to India. Thus, in Nirav Modi's case, the judicial proceedings began in March 2019. And by September 2020, in a matter of 1.5 years, you might have an extradition order sending him back to India. Again, you can note the speed of the order being passed there. Let's take the case of Vijay Mallya. Vijay Mallya left India in March 2016. Sometime in middle of 2017, the Indian government approached the UK government in court seeking his extradition to India. In December 2018, the first order was passed by the judge saying that he must be extradited to India to face charges of fraud and money laundering. That was December 2018. Vijay Mallya has a top battery of lawyers defending him there, and despite that, within a short period of time, that is by April 2020, the UK High Court had already upheld the order passed by the lower court directing that he be extradited to India. And within a month's time, that is in May 2020, the UK Supreme Court has already ordered that Vijay Mallya must be extradited to India and that he does not have any appeal that can be taken forward. Thus, between filing the first plaint by the government of India sometime in middle of 2017 to May 2020, Vijay Mallya's case has already been decided by the UK courts that he must be sent back to India. No wonder he now says that take back 100% of the dues that you're claiming, take it unconditionally, but please close the cases against me. We are again pointing out the speed with which cases do get decided, and they must get decided. That is the key issue here. Quick disposal of cases by courts is a must in case you want to make a country an attractive investment destination. Take India. ILFS, PCMC, DHFL, Yes Bank, Nirav Modi's case himself, Mehul Chokshi's case. These are huge giant frauds that have got committed. We have no idea when will they be disposed of by courts. We don't even know the progress in those cases because it would take years if we go by the experience in India before all those persons whose conduct was criminal and dubious are actually held guilty. And that's where the problem lies. And that's the larger picture that we suffer in India. Courts in India, with due respect to them, are slow. They move at a snail pace, and no wonder they are clogged with cases. There is a huge backlog of cases. And because of that, as far as financial crimes are concerned in particular, financial frauds are concerned, this slow moving pace of courts in India certainly encourages the delinquents and the cheats. And because of this slow disposal of cases, the worst sufferers are the lenders and the banks and of course the public. All those depositors whose money is stuck in PCMC Bank and in DHFL, it will take them years and we don't know when before they get their money through a court determined process. This kind of a slow decision making puts investor capital at risk, and of course it erodes the very faith that investors or the public has in courts and in the disposal of justice. It discourages investments in India. It discourages investors from coming to India. The fact of the matter is that courts are slow, uncertain, and unpredictable in India. And that has been a matter of concern which has been voiced from time to time, including by the economic survey that was presented to the parliament in 2018. India's ease of doing business has a huge lacuna, which is the slow disposal by courts. It has been pointed out by the World Bank that just to enforce an ordinary agreement, an ordinary contract in a court in India, it takes 1,450 days on an average, which compares so poorly with the likes of New Zealand, where it takes less than 3 months. That's the kind of slow disposal that we have. And unless that is not improved, the investors are not going to come to India. The delinquents will have a good time, and that needs to be stopped. In our opinion, you may have great laws, you may have great institutions, you may have great investment agencies all doing a good work, but all of them will be good and or efficient as much as the courts are. because the final disposal of justice comes from the court and not from the investigation agency. This is Akhilesh Bhargav signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
हमारे घरों में भी बच्चे होते हैं जो हमसे प्यार दुलार की आस करते हैं।
हमारा भी जीवन साथी है जिसको हमारे ड्यूटी से घर आने का इंतजार होता है।
हमारे घर में भी एक बूढ़ी माँ है जिनके लिए आज भी हम ही आंखों के तारे हैं।
लेकिन हम हमारे घरों में नहीं हैं। आपकी सुरक्षा में कोई कसर न रहे, इसलिए हम अपने प्रियजनों से दूर हैं।
हम में से ही कुछ तो अब इतने दूर जा चुके हैं कि वो वापस अपने घरों को लौट भी नहीं पाएंगे।
हमें गर्व है कि हमारे कंधों पे मुंबई शहर के नागरिकों की सुरक्षा की जिम्मेदारी है। हमारे जज्बे और बलिदान को व्यर्थ न जाने दे। इस संकट के समय में आप घर पे रहे, सुरक्षित रहे।
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.